Catch up on all the live shows right here on africatechradio.com.
Hi, you're welcome to Back to Base, the podcast that brings you real conversations with fascinating founders. And we talk to founders, we talk to tech experts and everyday people, really, to give you a glimpse into their lives and for you to know that their why. I would like to know the what, what drives them. Because they're just like us, but they just have, a genius mind. It's really fascinates me. And today we're having a chat with Joe Kinvi. He's an investor and a founder of HoaQ. First of all, when I saw HoaQ, I said, okay, how is this pronounced, right? But he would do that. He would tell us exactly how that is pronounced. He has an interesting name, Joe Kinvi, and I bet that there are other interesting things, incredibly interesting things about him. So let me just say hi to you now. Hey, how you doing? First of all, your name is really interesting. Where are you from?
I'm from Lomé, Togo. I was born and raised in Lomé, and I moved to Dublin, Ireland in 2005. So I born in Togo, raised in Ireland up until this year when I moved to London to live in London full time.
Oh, wow. So what does your name mean? Is there any special meaning to Kinvi or?
Kinvi, I think that's a good question. I don't know. I could be lying here. But small king, I could be lying. I need to ask my dad. But my other name actually has a different meaning, which is Ekwe. Ekwe. So my full name is Joseph Ekwe Kinvi, and Ekwe means the first son. So in my tribe, the first son is Ekwe, the second son is Teko, the third one is Mesa. So you have a name before you were born.
Oh, okay.
And the Joseph is my given name, so that's the name my parents gave me.
All right, where I'm from, Ekwe. The first son is actually Opera. That is what they call the first son of the family, the Opera of the family. Okay, let's just dive into it, right? I want to know about you, right? About your journey so far. This program is called Back to Base. We go back into time to where it all started, even before it did start, right? Have you always had this idea of being an investor? All those skits they're making right now, you see investor, but you are the real you're the real investor. So have you always had this idea or you stumble upon it?
Yeah, I think for the longest time I didn't even know what an investor was, but the journey started, I think, back when I moved to Ireland. I was just I like to believe that I was a driven child, and I always wanted to achieve things. And over time, I saw myself just becoming very entrepreneurial. I like to get involved in new things that haven't been done before. So I remember in my final year in university, when I was studying accounting and finance, my friend and I, Michael, who lived next door to me, we entered this competition at a university that he was going to, and we came second. We won a prize. But right after that, we did this thing, and we came up with this software called ILB, which is Interactive Learning Board. I actually remember that. And we presented it and we won. No, we didn't win. We came second, but we got cash. But right after that, I just went to work, right? Because that's what everybody else was doing. I graduated. I went to work for Ernst & Young. I've always had an itch to build something or to be part of something that hasn't been done before. And I remember when I was at Ernst & Young, I tried to start my first community, which failed. It failed purely because I didn't really know how to build a community, right? And then I think I tried it again with a bunch of people. So one of the learnings from building that first community was there was 3 of us, and then 2 people left, and it was just me trying to make this thing work, and I just didn't know how. We tried it again in 2016, and now this time there were 7 people, and we started this community called African Professional Network, and which is quite big now in Ireland. It still runs. They're on their 4th president. I was the founding president. And I loved being part of the APNI because I just love doing things that haven't been done, working with people, collaborating. And I think it was 2017, I tried to build my own startup. By the way, I'm skipping a lot of things that I've done, but I tried to build my own startup and I didn't know how to build a startup, to be honest with you. And it didn't go very far. It was a music tech startup. And so I was like, okay, I don't know how to build a startup. I need to learn how to build a startup. And the best way to do that is to join a startup. So in 2017, I joined the startup called Touch Tech Payments as the CFO slash head of finance, which I joined them. It was great. We ended up selling that company to Stripe, which is a global payment company. And being at Stripe, which was one of the hottest startups at the time, it was a good place to really see innovation happen. So I was learning. I spent 3 years at Stripe, and then at Stripe, I asked for a secondment to go to Paystack. So I spent a year at Paystack, and when you're working at companies like Stripe and Paystack, you're learning from the best, right? You're learning from entrepreneurs, and I think while I was at Stripe was when we started HoaQ, and HoaQ was never really meant to be a company that it is today. And it's HoaQ, by the way. It's not it's HoaQ, but we call it HoaQ. It was never meant to be a company. The whole idea back then in 2020 was to enable ourselves to become investors. And what does that mean? It means that we learned how to angel invest. We find a way to build a community because becoming angel investors requires very large amount of money, and I'm talking like $25, $50, $100,000, which is quite a lot for us because we're all working professionals, and we decided to again be innovative and figure out a way to do this. So we realized that when we can get a group of people together that bring in small, like smaller check, we can pull it together and figure out how to become angel investors, and that's where HoaQ came out of. And up until this year, HoaQ was more of a side hustle for us. But it has grown. Like we started with 17 people. It grew to, at least when I checked, I think we're near like 700 members at this stage. And this year I decided to really go at it full time. And that's how I'm here. I hope that gives you enough background around my entrepreneurial background.
It did. First of all, I want to go further to when you were a toddler, when you were a kid, and when they asked you, what do you want to become when you grow up? What was your answer?
I always wanted to be an accountant. Because one of my dad's friends who was an accountant used to come around, and I used to help wash his car so that he can give us money. And I'm like, okay, this guy has money, so he must have been, being an accountant is a good profession. And by the way, I am a qualified accountant. I trained as an accountant. I have my qualifications. I can still run through financials. But at the end of my qualifications, I realized that accounting is great. It's a great profession, but that's not who I am. I'm not the guy who sits behind the desk and, crunching numbers. I can do it, but I'm the guy who's out there on the field talking to people, trying new things. And as soon as I qualified, I stopped practicing accounting. When I was head of finance at Touch Tech, I practiced because I had to get through the audits. I had to close the books, and that foundational training really helped me. But when I left, when we joined Stripe through the acquisition, that's when I stopped officially becoming an accountant, and that was in 2019.
So, the period you were an accountant, was it the way you saw it as a kid? Was there money in it? Or
yes,
the reality was different?
There was money. I think a lot of my peers who are still at EY are all partners, at least a director. So, and they're all making really good money. But for me, money was just a means to an end. I always say I'm going to make money regardless. I want to make money while having a great time and while doing things I really care about. If I was working just for money alone, I would have stayed an accountant because, I'll probably be a partner and I'm making, 6 figures. I have a nice, lovely house somewhere. But that wasn't what really motivated me. Money at one stage stopped becoming the motivator. And I care about other things than money. Money is we need money, but it's not anything. It's not everything. So yes, accounting, at least my end of the profession and the amount of time I spent in it would have been very lucrative, but it wasn't. I care about other things. Money was not number one on my list as I got older.
So what exactly, you've given us a little hint about what HoaQ does, but I want you to break it down to someone who knows nothing about angel investment or anything investment. So tell us what HoaQ does and what it aims to achieve for entrepreneurs and founders of startups.
Yeah, so HoaQ in its purest form is a syndicate. And what a syndicate, is a group of people that come together and they decide to invest in companies. Plain and simple. That's what a syndicate is. HoaQ is a syndicate, but our version is slightly different. Again, a lot of syndicates decide who can join and who cannot join. Our syndicate isn't very restrictive. Our syndicate is relatively open in the sense that anybody can join, whether you're black, white, Asian, anybody can join the syndicate. So, like our syndicate is very open. The people we attract are typically founders in like professionals, people who work in like mostly tech, doctors, lawyers, everybody and anybody, right? And the criteria is just that you're either a professional, a founder, or anybody in between. So yeah, in the purest form, it's a syndicate. What we do is we go and source founders who are building tech or tech-enabled companies for Africa or the diaspora. So that's the investment thesis, or the people that we invest in. And that's what's unique about HoaQ. It's a relatively global syndicate with members across 35 countries. And anybody, either on the continent or in the diaspora, has an opportunity to invest in any company that they want to invest in. And hopefully, we can go out and do the work and bring those companies in front of them.
Is there like a minimum amount for investment?
Yes. Again, the other thing that we were innovative around is figuring out how we can collect small checks. And small checks is like anything from $1,000. And we figure it out. So the minimum to invest is $1,000. But how you invest that $1,000 is completely at your discretion. We don't force you to invest in any company. We just do the work. We find the companies, we speak to the founders, and you, at your own discretion, decide how you want to allocate your capital. So that's what's unique about us. We've really tried to lower the barrier of entry into angel investing, because angel investing historically was purely for rich people, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in Africa, we're poor. Yes, there are a lot of rich people, but the majority of people are not rich. So, like the angel investing model, as it is known, does not work for a lot of places across the continent. So, we essentially found a model to really lower the barrier of entry, because the founders need that capital, right? And we can't always wait for the West or Europe or America to give us that money.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we have to find a way to back local founders in some shape or form, and then hopefully when it gets to a certain stage, the West can come in and do their thing. But the other reason why we really cared about making sure that we invest locally, but also get people to invest locally, is because when there are returns, we need that money to stay on the continent. Because when the money comes from the West, Europe or wherever, and these investors put the money in, let's say you put 1,000 and then you get 2,000 back. These people are going to come back and take that money back to where that money came from,
Mm-hmm.
right? And Africa will remain the same if that continues.
Yeah.
So if we get local people, educate them, train them, and they can actually invest the money locally, when the return comes, that money will stay around. That means that more companies will get funded, more capital will go towards other founders who really want to build great technology and great companies, and we will be like better off than we were. So that's the other key motivation around doing what we do at HoaQ. And yeah, I have decided to commit my career to it.
All right. And listening to Africa Tech Radio, we're having a conversation with Joe Kinvi. And, I've been talking about how he stumbled upon, founding the company he has founded. Talking about HoaQ. And he has told us about his story, right? Growing up in school, after school, working strategically, actually, because he said, okay, I want to actually achieve this. Before I can achieve this, let me go and do this. Do you get it? It is an amazing thing. But you see, I know that every company, every founder that's ever lived has faced challenges, right? In founding their company. What is the biggest challenges that you faced, and how did you overcome them?
Yeah, I think I already touched on one, which is essentially just knowing how to build a company, right? I didn't know how to build a company. I had no idea. I didn't have any role model. And I failed terribly. I hired a developer that I didn't really know. I was paying him like out of my own salary, doing things on the side. And I quickly realized that this is not going anywhere because I had no idea what I was doing. And that really prompted me to go and work for a startup to learn. And like one of the best things I learned from working at a startup is, picking your team, the people that you really want to work with. The startups don't work for usually like a lot of reasons, but like the top two is they run out of money. And the second one is like the team doesn't work, right? The team doesn't work and there's some founder conflicts. Picking the right people to work with is probably the best decision that you can make as a founder. And that is something that I take with me in anything I do. And it applies to even life, which is marriage, right? I've heard that one of the important decisions that you can make in life is who you marry, right? And you have to look at building a company as a marriage, and you need to have the right person to build that with. And like, those are like, that lesson was really important for me. And as I kind of just started building things, having the right people to build it with was pivotal to its success. So the first thing that I was part of is, it's a community it's a non-for-profit called APNI. There were 7 of us that started APNI. 7 of us, and everybody had different skills that brought together. We were able to make this, community work. And when we were starting HoaQ, Newbie is my co-founder at HoaQ. Newbie and I we were kind of just hanging out and meeting every Saturday and trying to figure out what this thing is going to be. And Newbie and I had very complementary skills. So for example, I'm the numbers guy. I'm the guy who's doing the interviews, the PR guy. Newbie is the operation, back office, super program manager guy. Newbie is also the connect guy. Newbie knows half of the founders in Lagos, right? And I knew, by the way, you should definitely interview Newbie. He's the guy. And we had great complementary skills, and we both really cared about, the mission was very much aligned. Like, we knew that we wanted, by the way, HoaQ was never meant to be a company. We just wanted to be investors. Like, we wanted to play part. We wanted to see how we can enable ourselves as investors, and hopefully we can enable more people to become investors. But I wouldn't be doing this with anybody else because we both really care about it. We're able to go through the highs and the lows. Like, right, this week has been super hectic for the both of us, but we're doing it because we have a mission. We know where we're going. We're focused, and I wouldn't be doing this with anybody else. So picking the team is something that I think I made a mistake initially, but I pray that going forward I don't make that mistake again. And I'm gonna if I ever go and build something else and it's not with Newbie, it's gonna take me a while to land on the right person to build with. By the way, I'll never build anything myself because I know the things I'm good at, and I know the things I'm not good at, and I wouldn't build anything just by myself.
Knowing your limitations is a superpower. People do not know. They feel like, okay, you have to know how to do everything, but it is false. So why do you think you made a mistake with your team initially?
I just didn't know the dynamics of what a co-founder should be, right? Or what a team member should be. And if you pay developers to build something for you, they're not emotionally attached to this. They don't care. You're paying them to give it. You're paying for a service to deliver the service to you. You really want to work with people who buy into your vision and they treat it as it's their thing, right? And you want to pay them, but also you want to give them a piece of it. When this thing works out, they will also get a piece of it. So one thing I haven't spoken about is we've been actively building software for HoaQ and also other syndicates. And we have a CTO who is the co-founder of this product, and we wouldn't be able to build this thing without him. No way. And it took us a very long time to actually find him, pitch him the idea, get him to buy into the idea, come on board. By the way, this guy was an engineer at Stripe, right? Get him to leave to come and build this thing full time. It took a lot of work. But again, if it wasn't because of him, we wouldn't build this. I would never pay engineers or somebody in Lagos or India or Turkey to help build this thing. So I learned my lesson. I made that mistake. I learned my lesson. And I don't care whether it takes 2 or 3 years to find the right person to build with. It's worth the wait. it's worth the wait, because when you have the right person, you build quickly. When you don't have the right team, you'll probably be tossing around for 3 years. You're not going to build anything. You'll change, they'll make mistakes, but they don't care. They'll charge you more, they'll keep charging you more. Because for them, it's just, the longer they stay with you, the more you'll be paying them. But if you have somebody who buys into your vision, they will help get to where you need to get to.
Okay, I know that you are an investor. That is what I literally said when we started, right? Investor Joe. But I want to know what mistakes you feel like founders make that makes funding far away from them. Like, they don't get funding the way they should get. What is that mistake that they make that, funding just leaves them? There's a word I'm looking for, but it leaves me right now.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Evade.
Yes, evades them. That's the one. I think founders spend too much time focusing on things that don't matter, right? When you're building a business, you're building a business to sell to somebody. Like, there is two key players in business: the builders and the buyers, right? Look at yourself right now. Your buyers are your listeners, right? Mm-hmm. And your product is this interview, and they're gonna listen to it, right? That's a product that you're selling, or the service, or whatever you want to call it. Founders spend way too much time trying to guess what the customer wants. What I'm trying to say is they spend a lot of time trying to make the product perfect. Oh, this thing is not done. This is not done. Build quickly, put it in the hands of your customers, and get feedback. Because those are the people who want to buy your stuff. Why don't you give them what you have and ask them the question, is this what you really want? And they'll tell you, no, I want it like this, and I want it like that, I want it like this. After you've spoken to enough customers, you will have something that your customers want. And this is like, get it out as quickly as possible. Like the version 0.1 needs to be out quickly. Don't try to make it perfect. Don't try to make the best landing page. Our first version of the HoaQ landing page was text. HoaQ is a community of it was text. It was a text-based. It was like you go and read Twitter. We did not spend too much time trying to build a website, pretty website. We had a mailing list. We had Slack. We ran HoaQ on no code for 3 years. If we wanted to build what we're building today, we wouldn't have started. It would have taken us 3 years to get. You and I wouldn't be having this conversation. Mm-hmm. Get started as quickly as possible. Use no-code tools. If you're an engineer, go use Retool. There's a lot of tools out there that you can use to get started as quickly as possible. Don't spend thousands on engineers, and nobody even wants the thing that you're building. Find a very cheap and easy way to get that product out as quickly as possible. Use Google Forms. Like, get it in the hand of your customers. Like, founders spend way too much time trying to get the product perfect, and you don't even know that people want this thing. So, like, that's the mistake. And if it's not what people want, they'll tell you. Because they won't pay you. Nobody will not, like, people will pay you for something that gives them value. Mm-hmm. So when we started in 2020, we didn't really know. First of all, it was never meant to be a company. So, like, there was no monetization or anything. And then we started seeing that we're spending a lot of money on legal, like paperwork, documentation, lawyers, da-da-da. And then we're like, well, we spend all this money. We need to find a way to recoup the money back. So in 2021, we decided to charge membership. But we weren't really sure whether somebody will pay $100 or $200, $300 for this. And we just, like, one weekend, I was actually here in this apartment where one weekend we set up Stripe. And then we're like, hey guys, everybody's in the community. We have all these fees. We want to be able to cover it. If you really want to remain part of this community, pay your journey fee, pay a membership fee, blah, 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 blah. I remember the first $100 that we got. Sweet. I'm telling you, it was it gave us reassurance that we have something that people really want. In the first year of running HoaQ, we made, in 2021, when we started charging, that year we made $36,000.
Oh, wow.
Right. Just on a side hustle, making people pay membership, this and that. We didn't want to build a business, but we had a cost that we had to offset. We weren't going to go to an investor to ask for money because we don't have anything. So we had to figure out a way to make it work. So if you're a founder and nobody's willing to give you money for what you're building because you actually haven't built anything. Find a way to make it work. Like, start small, just start. Like, get out there, start building, use local tools, get somebody to pay for it because people pay for value. Like, people pay for value, and that's it. As long as you're delivering value, people will pay you for it. It's plain and simple.
I think that's the mantra I'm going to take, with me to the end of the year. Just start. Just do it.
Just like we have this new term at HoaQ is like, do it angry, do it excited, do it happy, do it anyway.
Do it anyway.
That's it. Like it's on our social media. You'll see it. Like, and it's something that we live by internally. Like my team, we just do it. It doesn't mean it's gonna be the best thing, but we get it started. Like this product that we launched yesterday, I'm telling you, we've been sitting on it for weeks. I've been nervous. I'm gonna put this in the hands of people now. They're not gonna like it. You know what? Put it out there, and people are using it. People are giving us feedback. We're like, yeah, if you like this, is it what's working for you? What's not working? Give us feedback. So, like, we're running HoaQ as investors, but we're also entrepreneurs. We're founders. Like we understand the challenges of building companies because we're building this company while investing, right? And it even makes this journey more exciting because we can really relate to the founders. And we're also operators. Like I've been working for 12 years. Newbie is still working. Yao is the CTO. My entire team are operators. So we really connect with founders. And it makes it much, much easier to, get on the same page with them, deploy that capital, be honest with them on the first call to be like, this is not going to work. Or, I'm so excited for you. Let me bring it to the community and see what we can do. So, yeah, I love my job. I'm sure you can see.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Obviously. So, that technology has evolved over the years. Yeah. And what the platforms we have now, we didn't have them back then. We had everything was an in-person. You have to travel miles to meet your partners. It was tedious, but now everything is at our disposal. So what is the most exciting part of tech that you're most excited about? Like what you think you want to see in the future in technology and for your business?
Well, the most exciting is already here, right? I think the internet is the best thing that has happened to Africa.
It has.
Like we've had electricity, the biggest innovation that happened, electricity, power, and then mobile phones.
Yeah.
Connectivity. Like connectivity is the most important technology for Africa. You and I would not be having this conversation if it wasn't for connectivity.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's gonna be the way out for the continent. And I don't really care too much around, people building on AI, Like most of the technology you see in Africa is tech enabled. Very few people are building novel technology. The application of what we currently have is the way out for the continent. And the areas that really excite me is the education piece, right? Education puts everybody at the same level. So if you and I have a degree in accounting and finance, I don't know what a degree or communication, whatever the case is, we have the same foundation, right? And companies like HoaQ, all the online education platforms are really making it much, much easier for anybody in Africa to get started, to start learning. And that's because they're connected somehow. And that part really excites me because first is education, then there's employment, because you can't really be employed unless you're educated, right? So HoaQ is solving that at mass. And then the jobs. Now you can get a job anywhere. You don't have to travel to Europe or America to get a job. Remote jobs powered by connectivity, right? And then the next level is the entrepreneurship. You cannot build a company on an empty stomach. And venture capital goes to a small group of people that the majority will need to figure out how to fund these businesses through their salaries, loans, all that kind of stuff. And then when we start really unlocking entrepreneurship at scale, where anybody can now start their businesses, they can sell their stuff online. And I'm talking like this already happened, but I don't know to what extent it's happening continent-wide. When we start unlocking this, then we're going straight to the moon. Like, we're not going to have to wait for anybody to come and save us because we can save ourselves. And yeah, like, the internet is the most amazing thing that has happened to the continent. AI is doing its thing, but let's use what we already have. Let's leverage what we already have, right?
I keep saying that there's no new song today. Nobody would tell me that this song I just formed it off from the top of my head. I don't believe so. I am an old school person in terms of music, and when I listen to music, I'm like, but this is a sampled song from this song, and I'm listening to a song from 1960 something. I'm hearing a 2023 sound in it, and I'm okay. I love it. Do you know? So what you're saying? Technology, the innovations are built on the back of previous innovations, and that is how it's going to continue. There's nothing new anymore. That is amazing. Yeah. Is there anything you want to add? I want to know what you have planned for HoaQ in future.
Yeah. So like, I think we want to make HoaQ accessible to more people, right? For the longest time, we were doing everything manually, low code, no code, and we couldn't really scale. We couldn't reach 10,000, 100,000 people because we didn't have the technology. Now we've actually gone and built the technology. And what that means is HoaQ will be accessible to a lot more investors. And what that means is we can now invest in more companies, right? So the more capital we have access to, the more companies we can back together. And, the more capital we can funnel towards founders who are building for Africa and the diaspora. I'm so excited for what this can be. And I really want to get to a stage where, I think I've done my piece. I take a step back, we hire somebody who runs it. Because there's so many things I want to do in life, right? I can tell you some of them. But like, there's a lot of things I want to do. And I don't want to be running HoaQ and hug it like it's my baby. HoaQ is a community project that it's not a not-for-profit. It's a for-profit. But it doesn't mean, I don't think I'm the best person to run it. I want to get to a stage where we have somebody who's much better than me that can run it at scale, and we have the right technology to manage that, because technology really allows you to run things at scale. That's where the old school use case is amazing, because they can educate at scale. You want to invest at scale. And while you're doing this at scale, you use technology to build in trust, safety, find a way to provide returns for investors, bring the right companies, and again, leveraging technology. So yeah, I'm very excited, because I think what we're doing really matters for the continent, and the money goes to the continent. It stays on the continent. And this is where the economic empowerment comes in. Like, when money, when you really study how money works, you realize that you need to keep as much of it in one place and keep, recycling it, going back around. You don't want it to leave where it is, or else we'll just, keep getting poorer. So yeah, I'm excited for HoaQ. I'm excited for our members, because now people have access to a different asset class to invest in, which is venture. It's risky. I should have put that disclaimer at the start. Like, this is very risky. So that's why we put a huge emphasis on education, because if you are educated, you can make more informed decisions. That doesn't really guarantee that the companies are going to work out, because 9 out of 10 companies fail. But at least you would make better informed decisions. So yeah.
Finally, for youngins like us who are making tiny money, and sometimes we look at ourselves and say, okay, I think I'm spending my money too recklessly. I want to invest in something, and I'm hearing the minimum amount of investment in HoaQ is $1,000. Is there any?
I think right now it's $900,000.
Oh my gosh! So, is there any opportunity for people, low income earners, to invest in companies or anything that can give them returns?
Yes, I think angel investing is just one asset class, right? So before you can start investing, you need to start saving. Oh, no, don't start saving. You need to start making money. First and foremost, right?
Oh my God.
And
okay.
And again, let's go back to this thing as like education, employment, and then enterprise, right? So you need to go and learn something, be educated. The next step is you get a job, you become employed, you become a resource to the nation, and then you try to get your income up. You need to like make more money, because like this is not for people who haven't gone through the necessary steps, right? So make money, then save your money, right? Then invest in something that protects your money, property, T-bills, safe. And then as you climb this ladder, you move towards something that's more risky. But you already have a good foundation. So like, say you have 10,000, right? You have $10,000, you put 9,000 in your PiggyVest accounts, or whatever. That's safe. PiggyVest makes sure your money's safe and your money just doesn't go like this. And the remaining 1,000, you can take a bit of a risk with it, or maybe a lot of risk, which is you put that 1,000 into like, 1 or 2 angel investing or something that's a little bit risky, right? When you lose that 1,000, you still have 9,000. But please don't flip it around and put 9,000 into a startup and then you lose all the money and then you come looking at me like, Joe said so.
Joe said it.
Yes.
All right.
Don't do that.
Okay.
Don't do that. Yeah.
Sorry.
So like, I think there's levels. Like people need to really understand that it's life. You have to just take the stairs. Right.
I mean, we want to invest in something that will start bringing money. You understand? And then we will now start investing in capital properties.
PiggyVest. Like PiggyVest is the best thing that's happened to Nigeria.
Do you have investment with PiggyVest?
No, I don't actually. I wish I did, but I met Somto when I was in Lagos. He's the CEO, amazing guy. And the entire team at PiggyVest, they've really figured out this thing. And they've built something that is for people, and they are probably one of the biggest wealth creation tools for Nigeria. But PiggyVest is just one. RiseVest is another one. RiseVest allows you to invest in property. Do you know RiseVest? Go check them out. Like they allow you to invest in dollars, meaning that your money is protected against the the naira up and down, right? So there's a lot of tools out there that you can use just to get started. Like you're getting 5, 10, 15, 20%. Those are really good returns.
Okay.
When you stay consistent, you will. And also check out Money Africa. Tosin, shout out to Tosin. Money Africa is amazing. They provide education. Like they teach you how to really build wealth.
All right.
Check them out. Like I should really write something about this because I always talk about it, but I haven't documented it anyway. Like
when you write, just say Lillian, this is the conversation.
Yeah. So like Angel, we're playing in the risky asset class.
Okay, it's not for us.
It's not. No, you must not start with us.
Okay.
There's other places that you can get started. So like I just gave you 3: Money Africa, Rise, PiggyVest that everybody knows. I'm sure there's so many more that you can leverage, and like 20% a year compound. Like 5 years you get double your money. Like very few places. Yeah. So people really underestimate the power of compounding. You put the money there, don't take it out. So every month you put. It, like time is your best asset.
Okay.
And if you haven't started, start now. Like it's never too late.
Time is your best asset. So we're going to leave with that. Yeah. Thank you very much, Joe. You've been really expressive and you've been giving us amazing nuggets. It's going to be documented. Thank you very much for responding to my message on LinkedIn.
Wait, yes, but we haven't spoken about Chaldec.
Okay, what do you want to say about Chaldec?
I just want to say that go to chaldec.com, check out Chaldec. It's probably in your area. If you want to get your food delivered in less than 30 minutes, Chaldec is the platform that you should be using. The best, it's actually the best. Like I used it when I was in Lagos and it works for me. It works for everybody. Check them out. It's better than, I'm not even going to name those people out there, but it's better.
Don't name them.
Like your food, like can I tell you last time my food came, I didn't have to put it in the microwave.
Hey, all right. We'll check them out. Thank you very much, Jerry. Follow Joe on LinkedIn. In fact, on all social media platforms, his name is Joe Kinvi because you know get part 2. It's just
I'm ready when you are.
Thanks for listening, and don't forget to catch up on all the live shows right here on africatechradio.com.